So what we have in our gospel this morning was first laid out in the laws that God had given to Moses on the Mount of Sinai about 3,000 years ago. So again, those laws instructed, first of all, that every mother that gave birth needs to come to the temple 40 days after that birth to receive and go through the purification rituals so that she could again then participate in the worship in the temple and with the Israelite people. Also, those laws 3,000 years ago said that every firstborn son needs to be redeemed in the temple or with another priest. And the law laid out that you had two options. If you were wealthy and could afford a lamb, that oldest son needed to be redeemed by making a sacrifice with that lamb. If you were poor and you couldn't afford a lamb, then you brought 2 turtle doves and sacrificing that for that oldest son to be redeemed, to redeem him. And so in the temple, there was a lot of different people. There's all these Pharisees, scribes, priests, sacrifices going on night and day, tons of people there, but no one hardly recognized the child Jesus, this 40-day-old baby who'd been brought into the temple. And why? There's lots of different reasons, but I think one of the reasons is that there were 2 different lines of parents, ones with lambs and ones with only the turtle doves. And the turtle doves, again, were the poor parents. And Mary and Joseph are in that line. And so that was probably one of the main reasons that people did not recognize the baby, the Messiah was actually in the temple. Again, Mary and Joseph couldn't afford an actual lamb, but they brought the Lamb of God, Jesus Christ, who's, at this point, a 40-day-old baby. And so again, I think a lot of times the lesson for us might be that a lot of times we miss Jesus in the poor line. In fact, we miss Jesus in the poor in our community. We miss Jesus. We don't recognize Jesus, especially in the poor who are in our community and who are in our neighborhoods and so forth. And so again, St. John Chrysostom says very beautifully 1,700 years ago, he says, if we can't recognize Christ in the poor, then we will never be able to recognize him in the Eucharist. Right? And so again, I've failed at this recently. So I'm not like saying that we can all get better at recognizing the poor, right? I think that the parable of the Good Samaritan is such a beautiful parable, right? There's a person that's been beaten and bloodied and by robbers and is lying almost dead. And the priest and the rabbi pass by on the other side of the road. They don't stop. But it's the Samaritan who stops, takes care of the victim, puts him on his own mule and takes him back to the inn. And so again, there's poor in our community. There are poor people in our community. Do we recognize them? Do we take the time? They never come at a convenient time. We never see them at a convenient time. We never see them when we have enough time to stop. But again, Jesus is saying, if you see me in the poor, he says, whatever you do for the least of me, these least of mine, my poor, you've done that for me. Right? So let us trust that anytime we take time to stop, to care for a person, to not allow the excuse, he probably or she probably is an alcoholic or on drugs or whatever that might be. Let us just stop. Ask them if there's anything we can do to help them. Because again, when we do that, Jesus says we will be doing that for him. So let us again take advantage of all the different opportunities that we have to encounter the poor, but then also to stop and help them. And in doing that, we will then start to recognize Jesus here in the Eucharist at Mass as well.